Hey everyone, welcome to the EC. My name is Sarah Curtis, and I'm the Community Program Coordinator here at the Entrepreneurship Center. I want to thank you all for coming out on this Friday. This is actually the last rocket pitch for the semester before our face-off, which is next week, which is so crazy to me. Time really flew by this semester, and it's been super exciting. So Rocket Pitch is one of the many events that we offer here at the EC, and it's part of our mission to help students learn and apply entrepreneurial thinking. One of the most important aspects of Rocket Pitch is you. So as the audience, you all have an opportunity to play a part today. So whether that's cheering on pitchers, providing feedback, voting, or just turning on your camera and showing a friendly face. If you're new to the EC or it's your first time watching Rocket Pitch, welcome. We love seeing new faces. That's what we're all about here. If you're not a member, don't worry. Sign up is super easy. So all you have to do is fill out this form that we're going to drop in the chat. It takes a few minutes. You fill it out and you're good to go. So before we get started, let's make sure you're eligible to vote. We'll review how it works, and then we'll thank our wonderful sponsors. So for voting, you're only eligible to vote if you're a member or a coach. So we're going to be dropping the voting form in the chat, and all you have to do is complete it before we start the feedback portion if you want to vote. So again, if you're not a member yet, all you have to do is fill out that form, and then you'll be eligible to vote. So now that you can vote, let's review how it works. Participants will have 2 minutes to pitch their idea for the following 4 pillars. These are the 4 aspects of a good rocket pitch. So starting off, we have the problem, which is the idea that great products solve great problems. Then we go into the market, which is where you keep in mind the outreach. So how many people are involved or affected. Then going into current solutions or current competition. So this is where competition is evaluated and explaining why the solution is better than the competition. Then we go into your solution. So this is where you tell your idea, what you've done so far, and what's to come. And lastly, we always like to talk about delivery. So if the pitch was delivered in an engaging way. And keep in mind, this is a competition. So for the pitchers out there today, if you do go over that 2-minute time limit, I will mute you. There will be a prize at the end for the winner, which is pretty cool. But what I love about Rocket Pitch is how it's really all about the entrepreneurship. So this goes beyond that $100. Even if you're just an audience member today, take this opportunity to develop new ideas and learn from others. Speaking of learning from others, we have some awesome people here with us today. Ultimately, this can only happen with great people, our sponsors and our coaches. So first and foremost, thank you to Ferguson for making this all possible. We would not be here with them today. And I also want to thank the coaches and mentors who are here joining us today. So just looking out in the crowd, I see some people. I see Mike Desher. I see Andrew Lloyd Williams. I see Michelle King. Super great. If I didn't mention you, like, feel free to mention yourself in the chat. But yeah, I'm super excited that everyone's here today and I'm super grateful. And again, I just want to give a note. So coaches, as we approach the feedback portion, feel free to message me at any point if there's a specific pillar you'd like to speak on, so I can call on you. So that way you can think of more tailored feedback as we go through and as you listen to the pitches. So just a reminder, the pillars again are the problem, the market, current solutions, the solution, and then the delivery. So again, just private message me at any point if there's a certain pillar you'd like to focus on. All right, I think we're good to go. Let's get ready to rock it. So first up, we have Annalise Bray. She's a junior. She's a computer science major, and she will be talking to us about Study Buddy. Annalise, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and I'll start your timer.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Can everyone see this? Can you see the page? Maybe now? Yes? Okay, thank you. And let me just move the Zoom out of the way. Okay, I think I'll get started. So many of my friends use study groups in their classes to help prepare for exams and other things. However, currently in today's world, especially during the Zoom era, it's challenging, it's becoming increasingly uncomfortable and stressful to form these study groups. So that's where Study Buddy comes in. My team has come together to create a platform, a web-based platform, to match students regardless of whether or not they know students in their classes already. Study Buddy offers an ability to create flexible groups, and it offers a tailored matchmaking algorithm. Our customer segment consists of approximately half of the student population at William & Mary. I've conducted interviews, and half of the students said that they would use this service if it were provided. Over time, we plan to extend this across the US to potentially thousands of students. Right now, students are using these platforms. And as we can see, these are focused on group chats and how current groups communicate with each other. They're not so much focused on personalized matching or they are not study focused, which is where Study Buddy comes in. It fills in all these gaps. Our competitive advantage is our matching algorithm, which is based on science. We are also customer driven, so we have features to incorporate student feedback, and we offer that personalizable experience for studying. Our revenue, right now we are getting ready to apply for government grants during the development process. Eventually, we would like to sell this to universities for annual subscription rates so that students can use it for free, or we might sell it to larger companies such as Facebook so that they can use it as an add-on feature. Right now, we are building our prototype. We currently have a website that navigates between pages, and eventually, well, right now we're working on making our matchmaking algorithm, and eventually we'd like to start sharing this in the William & Mary community. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, please let me know. There's a whole bunch more information that I can give you if you're interested. Thank you so much for this experience.
All right, thank you, Annalise. We're gonna move right on into the next pillar. So next up, we have Lauren Rose, and she will be discussing Rift. So whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and I'll start your timer.
According to Forbes, there is $1.7 trillion of outstanding student loan debt held by 45 million borrowers in the US. This affects borrowers on more than an economic level. Studies have shown that it delays purchasing homes, people getting married, and having children. This is where Rift comes in, bridging the gap between the student debt crisis now and the financial freedom that awaits. Rift differentiates itself as an innovative digital platform where our members get educated and they're provided with resources to help pay off their student loan debt quickly. Of course, Rift is not alone in the student debt repayment space, with well-known competitors such as Gift of College and Change. However, these competitors do not compare to Rift. Through a monthly subscription of $24.97, perks include access to a financial literacy resource library, a community of individuals just like you celebrating those debt victories, and quarterly entry into our $10,000 scholarship. Increase your chances of winning by completing a quick financial module through our library. Rift's business model is simple. We receive subscription fee revenue and advertising revenue by monetizing our resource library with sponsorships. By collaborating with stakeholders in this space, Rift is positioned to be a go-to resource connecting students today who are paying off their debt with a brighter future that is debtless. Please join us in our mission to help students pay off their debt quickly. In closing, my name is Lauren Rose. I'm the founder of Rift. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. So we're gonna move on to our third and final pitcher for today. So last up, we have Mary Nukwe. She's a first-year grad student studying higher education, and she will be discussing Black Diamond Rights Collection. So Mary, whenever you're ready, go ahead and I can start your timer.
Heat and pressure. No, I'm not talking about the chem final that I took the last semester in Williamsburg. I'm talking about what happens with carbon atoms under intense heat and pressure. They create diamonds. Just like diamonds, we even feel the pressure from our day-to-day activities, assignments, and obligations. And if you've ever experienced Zoom fatigue, technology overload, or even banner crashing, then it's time to reduce the blue light overexposure and pick up a Black Diamond Rights Collection journal. It considers the traditional way of mapping your day, but by using recycled bound paper and being able to slow your thoughts and write out your ideas. According to a 2014 Princeton researchers concluded that the pen is mightier than the keyboard, And by writing out your plans allows for your deeper retention and analysis. Yeah, we have platforms such as Google Calendar and Microsoft Notebooks, but by picking up a BDW collection journal allows for you to be mindfully present in mapping out your journey. According to Business Wire, the global paper notebook market will grow to $19 billion within the next 3 years. In fact, Hallmark and the Happy Planner has already capitalized on this market by selling their journals for about $15 to $40. My BDW collection will sell for $10 to $15, capturing the budget-minded and environmentally conscientious consumer, ranging from teachers, students, busy parents, and those looking for thematic journals as they plan out their weddings, STEM charts, and even music composition. So just like a diamond under intense pressure, they create greatness. So why not pick up your own Black Diamond Rice collection journal?
Thanks, Mary. And thanks again for everyone's pitches today. That was a really great lineup. So we're now going to take a quick breather to allow time for you to complete your voting forms. And when we come back, we'll move into the feedback portion. So everyone in the audience should start to think of any questions or comments you may have for the pitchers. And again, coaches, if you want to be called on for a specific pillar, just message me so I can include you in that section. Up for grabs, we have pretty much any pillar you'd like to speak on. So just let me know and I can make sure you get to speak on that one. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. Welcome back. If you haven't taken the chance to vote yet, I encourage you to do so now because we will be closing the voting form within the next few minutes. I'm super excited to move on to our feedback portion. So again, let me just go through how that's going to work. So I'm going to be calling on coaches to speak for each pillar. And I also want to invite audience members or any other coaches to give some feedback. So first we'll have the coaches I call on to speak for each pillar, and then I can move on to feedback submitted to me privately via chat. So for that additional feedback, you can write any questions or comments you may have in the chat box, and I can read them aloud for you after the coaches speak. And in the message, just make sure to include which pillar you're addressing so I can ask it at the appropriate time. So we're going to also open up discussion for feedback on any of the pitches. So you can discuss any pitch you'd like at any moment in time as long as it's pertaining to that pillar. And again, it's important we keep in mind the aspects of a good rocket pitch. So going back to those pillars, we're first going to address any feedback relating to the problem. So this all goes back to the idea that great products solve great problems. And for this pillar, I'd love it if Asher Smith Rose could speak on it.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks for having me. These were some great pitches. Clearly you all have thought about this, which is awesome. Starting with Study Buddy, you had a wonderful flow. Your slides were beautiful. I know 90 seconds can go by really fast and you had a good cadence jumping between them. I felt like on the problem section, you moved past the high level really quick. So you said it's very stressful and difficult for students to find study groups. I think if you live this problem every day, that makes a lot of sense to you. But as someone who's not a student, I didn't really understand why it was really stressful and why it was really difficult to get students together. So I think if you dig one level deeper, it'll really help your audience sympathize and understand with what you are pitching. But you had great delivery. And I think that's just one small tweak to make your presentation stronger. Lauren, on the Rift topic, you did a great job of catching everyone's attention right away. You came in with some huge stats and a pain that I think a lot of people feel. When it comes to the problem, loans as a whole is something that everyone understands is an issue. But I think if you find a subset of loans, if it's people understanding the length of loans or depths of loans, or there's another level there that I think you can hone into that will really help narrow the problem space from all the solutions out there that are trying to solve for loan problems. And then Mary, for your Diamonds presentation, it was very well delivered. I think it took maybe 10 seconds to get to the problem, which you did state very clearly and well. I would just recommend bringing that up in your presentation a little bit because I lost you for a couple seconds and then I got back on track. But if you kick off with that, it'd be really helpful.
Great. Thank you so much for that feedback. We're ready to move on to the next pillar, which is the market. So this is where you want to keep in mind the outreach, how many people are involved and affected. So for this one, I'd love it if Mike Desher could speak.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. You guys all did a really good job. I'm kind of going to go one at a time. Annalise, the study buddy presentation I thought was very good. Your slides were good and simple, and they augmented what you were talking about. You presented what the market is, and the market is actually probably bigger than a lot of us really realize. And I really like the way that you wove it into solutions at the end, having different ways that you can market this program and do it and move along. Lori was a good pitch. You explained the market pretty well, and just as Asher said, I kind of agree with him in that there are other layers of funding that you need to look at more closely and adjust and do that part of it. And just on presentation at the end, you kind of staggered like you lost your place in your notes, but that's always something everybody can work on. Mary, to be honest, I had a technological glitch or something was, I couldn't hear you very well. So I'm not going to comment too much because to me, it sounded like you wanted to ditch computers and sell journals with pens and pencils. And I know that was not your problem, market, or solution. So I apologize for that. I just couldn't hear you. So, but good job, everybody. And back to you, Sarah.
Thanks for that feedback. If anyone would like to jump in and talk about the market for Mary, you're welcome to do so now.
Yeah, I'm happy to jump in. Mary, I think I'm looking at my notes. Yeah, you pitched it as a financial opportunity size, which made it really appealing to, if someone's trying to invest in your product, be appealing to invest. But I think if you say this is how painful the problem is, for example, this many students exist in the US and are taking worse notes, I think that would really help drive that problem size point in.
All right, we're ready to move on to the next pillar, which is current solutions and competition. So it's always important to evaluate the competition and explain why your solution is better. So for this one, I'm going to call on Andrew Lloyd Williams.
Okay, thank you, Sarah. Yeah, three great presentations, great to listen to, and as always. Starting with Annalise, the competition there, I didn't feel you went into it to any great detail. I did a quick Google on StudyBuddy, and it looks as though there are 3 websites out there, none of which I don't think are yours. But it would be, I guess, useful to go into what the competition is and how your solution would be different from theirs and how it would stack up against them. Lauren, you mentioned that there were 2 competitors for your product, but you didn't really describe how they compare. And I wonder whether I think you said you'd be charging $24.97 a month for the service. And when a student is already up to their eyes in debt, I'm not sure that that's so acceptable. And I don't know what the competition do. It would be helpful to understand what's going to make you more competitive. And clearly, price is one of the factors, is a major factor in determining that. So it might be a little difficult for us to understand how you stack up. I didn't know who those 2 competitors were or what they offer. And it would have been helpful to have a little more detail there. Mary, I'm afraid I ran into the same, shall we say, technological problem that Mike did. And I didn't really catch a lot of it. I understand, I think you were saying it's a $19 trillion market in 3 years. But I didn't get the bit about what the competition was. So it's a little difficult for me to make further comments. Perhaps, Sarah, you can throw that open for others to comment on there. But that's what I have. Thank you again.
Yeah, if anyone else would like to jump in for this pillar, you can go ahead. And also audience members, you're always welcome to send me a direct message and I can read it aloud for you. But I think for the time being, we can move on to the next pillar, which is your solution. So this is all about the idea, what's been done so far and what's to come. And for this one, I'd like to open it up to any coach that'd like to speak. So if any of the coaches feel strongly about this one, you can go ahead and jump in.
I'll jump in for Rift. Lauren, you talked about resources that you provide to help solve the debt problem. I think this is a great way to solve the problem. I would just love a little bit more detail on what those resources are and like a tailored list of what you would offer a customer. So these are the 5 services we'll offer you, which would help add a lot of tangibility to the pitch.
I can jump in on Study Buddy. I think from the table, I got a sense of what the value proposition of the solution was. I think one mechanism to sort of take the solution to the next level is to speak to the benefit that the users would get from using your product or service. A lot of times when we talk about the solution, we just talk about the sort of the features and the aspects of the solution versus what do I get? What are the finished story benefits, so to speak, if I were to engage in that product or service? So I thought I could understand sort of the shape of it, but to sort of bring some additional clarity to it, talking about the benefits I thought could make it even stronger.
Thank you for that feedback. Last call for your solution pillar. So anyone that would like to jump in can go ahead.
I would actually like to just add a comment about Annalise's presentation that, it did whiz by a little bit. And when Graham brings up that chart, I realized that I mentioned that there wasn't much about the competition, but actually that chart really was all about the competition. And if I remember, I had to quickly look at it. I think Facebook groups covered all except the last one, where you had 3 checks for Study Buddy and none for Facebook. So yeah, again, I think you did address the competition, and I apologize for skipping over that.
All right, lastly, we're just going to talk about delivery. So this is ensuring that the pitch was delivered effectively and was engaging to the audience. So for this one, I'd love it if Graham Henshaw could give his insight.
All right. Well, thanks again to the 3 of you for pitching today. Appreciate your coming to Rocket Pitch and sharing your ideas with us. I'll just go right down through the list of pitchers, and then I have one comment that I think applies to all. So for Annalise, what I really liked about your delivery was that you seemed really confident in what you were going to say. You were calm in the delivery. So I felt like you really knew your stuff. You knew what you were going to say. You had 2 minutes, and you were gonna deliver that. So I thought that was really strong. Lauren, I felt also like you were really deliberate in your delivery. I think that it was clear that you had prepared for this in terms of what you were going to say. That preparation actually showed through maybe a little bit more than you wanted to, because there seemed like maybe there was a glitch where you lost your place. And in that moment, sort of it pulled me out of the presentation, and it sort of directed my attention a little bit more at the fact that maybe you're reading some notes. And so I think an opportunity to strengthen the delivery would be if you had sort of a high level summary and had committed more of the structure of that presentation to be able to give that without verbatim notes in front of you. Let's see, so that even if you do lose your notes or the computer turns off, like you can still tell the story. And then for Mary, I think it wasn't just Mike and Andrew. I think there was just a tech issue with the microphone, and just a tip that you can use at the beginning, either of your presentation or when you come in, is just do a quick tech check for most of the audience, that doesn't matter. But if you're going to be one of the pitchers, just confirm, can you hear me clearly? And that might be a way to resolve any microphone Zoom issues as we're all navigating Zoom land these days. So for everyone, I think one opportunity to enhance the delivery is through the use of stories. That can be a really interesting hook right out of the gates, where you can kind of check some of these other boxes of the other pillars in a way that sort of engages us and pulls us in. And so I felt like there was an opportunity for each pitch to have a story about like an awkward study situation, which would have gotten us really listening, or the impact of student loan debt and what that has caused for that particular person. So like really humanize. And Mary, same thing. I think that I got from the presentation that it was about the benefits of journaling. And so a real story about like what has actually happened. So using the sort of story mechanism as a hook right at the beginning of the presentation to get us all leaning in and ready for the rest of it, I think is kind of it's a trick in presentation so that you can cover what you have to, but do it in a way that's interesting. And that's it for me from delivery perspective.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for that great feedback. So I know you're all anxious to hear the results of the competition, but before we do so, I just want to mention a few things. So right now we're going to drop a check-in form in the chat. So if you want to earn points for Liftoff, which is our semester-wide game, you can go ahead and do that now and fill that out to get counted. The semester's wrapping up, so you want to make sure you get those last-minute points in. I also want to mention our podcast, which comes out on Tuesdays, and then our Alumni Founder Series, which is every other Thursday at 5:30. And of course, Rocket Pitch. This is the last normal Rocket Pitch, but next week we do have our Liftoff, which is super exciting, or not Liftoff, our Face Off, which will be super exciting. And we're going to have some pitches come back from the semester, some of the favorite pitches, and face off for the final. So also, again, if you're out there and you've pitched before the semester and you want to come to the face off, just make sure you fill out that application. The link for that should also be in the Discord and the Slack if you missed it, or in our emails. So just make sure to look out for that. And speaking of Discord, make sure you check that out if you haven't already. It's a great way to continue the conversation, and there's a lot of cool features on there. I also want to talk about the game with the leaderboard and some updates with that. So looking at the game leaderboard, in first place, we have Pietro Marino with 4,300 points. Then we have Taylor Robertson with 3,000 points. Then we have Yijing Li with 2,700 points. Then we have Stephanie Schaefer with 2,100 points. And in fifth place, we have Augustine O'Connell with 1,700 points. For the house leaderboard, in first place, we have Columba with 16,000 points. Then we have Lyra with 15,900 points. In third place, we have Aquila with 11,800 points. And in fourth place, we have Gemini with 10,700 points. So super exciting stuff as we're nearing the end of the semester. But now what you've all been waiting for, the winner of Rocket Pitch today is Annalise. So congratulations, and make sure to stick around at the end so we can give you a few pointers and information. So if you enjoyed today and you have an idea, Rocket Pitch is the perfect opportunity to share it and get great feedback. Thanks for joining us today, and see you all next week to launch into some more brilliant ideas. Have a great weekend.